Hey guys, it's me, Jenna Kelly. This is a tip in regards to following your gut feeling, right? So sometimes our gut feeling can get in the way of our hustle, right? Sometimes you look at a customer and you're like, he doesn't have any money because he's dressed in all sweats, or he just looks dirty, or he just, he doesn't look like he's trying to spend some money, right? But I learned a long time ago, because I used to go to this other club where this guy would come in and he smelled really bad. And he wore the same sweats every time he came in, right? But he was loaded. If you had the opportunity to sit with him, your night was pretty much taken care of, you know what I mean? Then you could relax for the rest of the night because he had money like that, right? And then you guys would come in suits, all this jewelry, but not have any money. It's just like a flexing thing, right? Basically tonight, what happened was, okay, so this is gonna sound really fucked up, but me as a black dancer, I have to think about these things. First off, my stage has 2 stages, right? If I get a vlog of the club, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The club has 2 stages and they're separated, they're not connected. So you have the first stage and the second stage. So I'm on the first stage, right? And there's probably like 2 or 3 guys sitting close to the first stage area. It's like the bar is like a big rectangle, and then it's like 2 stages in the middle of the rectangle. So he came and he looked at me, and he didn't sit directly where he could have sat right there by the first stage, but he went all the way to the end of the second side of the bar, right? And the routine is usually dance to your first song on the first stage and then second song on the second stage. Easy, right? But me, I like to be extra, so I like to go back and forth, especially if I feel like I want to entertain other guys. Because I feel like if you come in and you got to wait till my second song to see me perform on that stage, it's like, like you'd rather just see me sooner. So I go back and forth, right? And he was like getting napkins and wiping up a little spill that he made, just not paying attention to that performance, right? So I was going back and forth and shit. And, he's a white guy, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe he doesn't like black girls, and maybe he thinks that, a lot of people think that my body is done, which it's not, but they think my body is done, so they don't, think it's too big or whatever the fuck. Like, I can change that, which I can make it smaller or bigger, but it's my body, and I like it the way it is, you know what I mean? So, anyways, he was over there doing his thing. When I walked up to him the first time, he was like, oh, how you doing? Like, I'm good. I'm like, how are you? He's like, never had a bad day yet. And I'm like, okay, that's good. Good to hear. Right? That was the first set. And he was sitting by himself for a while. So I'm like, you know what? I should go over and talk to him. But I didn't go over and talk to him just yet because I'd have to fill it out somewhere. Second stage, so he asked me for my name. Now, if he asks me for my name, it gives me more of an incentive to come and talk to you, because it shows that you're like more interested. I kind of grouped these ones as I was going. I was going to cash these in, but I ended up not doing that. Yeah, so he asked me for my name, and then he said this, he gave me this response that I hate hearing. So my name is Cashmere at the club, right? And I was like, he's like, what's your name? I was like, my name is Cashmere. And he's like, oh, I bet that's not what your mother calls you. And I'm like, okay, cool. What's your name? My name is Chris, short for Christopher. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. And I was like, you know what? I owe you a visit. And he's like, yeah, like, you might surprise yourself if you sit over with me. But Shani means you have a lot of money for me, right? So I go sit over there, and he's like, so where are you from? And I should have just, I know a lot of girls will say I'm from everywhere because they might move around a lot. That might be my new response. But instead, my dumbass said the city that I'm from. He's like, oh, what part? And I said the part that I'm from. And he's like, oh, what part? And I'm like, okay, well, I feel like if you know what part of a city that you're from, like, you'll recognize certain things. For example, and I was like, yeah, but I don't let you stay out there anymore. And he's like, oh, well, you're not from there. And I instantly got mad, because I'm like, you know what, we're not even supposed to be talking about this right now. Like, I should just be getting straight to the point. Like, you want to do a dance? You want to tip me for my time? I was like, okay, well, I know what part I'm from. I know that people can move, so whatever the fuck. But I got straight to it. I was like, yo, do you want to do a lap dance? And this is the second red flag. First red flag was, him being just too, like, invasive. And the second part was when I said you want to do a lap dance, he was like, oh, well, what are we going to do back there? And I just gave it to him straight. I'm like, well, sit in the chair and I give you a good time. He was like, oh, well, okay. So I wasn't trying to, you know what I mean? It just wasn't really biting the bait. So it got, like, awkwardly quiet. And honestly, after he was asking me what part I'm from, I was gonna leave, but I'm like, you know what? It was kind of slow, so I just want to see if I can close the deal, but it wasn't working. So after a couple of minutes of awkward silence, he's like, okay, well, I gotta leave. And I'm like, all right. And I was gonna say thanks for nothing, but I'm a nice person, so I was just like, okay, thanks for your time. And then that was it. I didn't talk to him after that. But like my gut feeling was saying like, okay, he's either not interested, he's gonna waste your time. Like my mind wasn't even thinking like he might be trying to do something back there. I think people come into my club and it's like a really small dive bar in the middle of suburbia. So I guess they're thinking like, oh, well, these girls really need the money. I'm gonna count this real fast. I'm gonna speed up this part. And then after that, I'm just gonna give you like a recap of the night. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got something. I should have left it. I said I was gonna write it down. Maybe nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See if I feel this noise. No. All right, so I'm back in real time. I just like to organize it before I give you the final count. So I got 20 right here, groups of 20s. Okay, this is 17 right there. All right, and then I got these big bills. I got a 50 here, 20, 40, 60, 65. So that's, was that 110? 110, 115. That's 115 by itself. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. 20, 40, 60, 80, 97 with this. All right, so tonight's grand total is 312, which is really good because it's slow in the beginning. That's another thing I want to say. If it's slow in the beginning, don't think the night's not gonna be good, because I got rained on in the middle of the night, and then I also got some money at like the very end. Our club goes at 2, last call's like 1:30, so I got some money at last minute, which is really, really good. And you can make some last minute regulars or last minute potential customers. And when you're sitting with somebody, if they're not tipping you, just move along. Like I was sitting with one guy, different guy from what I just talked about. Sitting with this one guy, and he was promising me that he'd give me some money when I sat with him. But he used to give me like 10s and 20s when I would sit with him, but then he started just giving me like singles, like 10 singles at a time or 5 singles, like, oh, here you go, like, put them in your bag, which I'm grateful for everything, but it's like, don't promise me a certain number and then not live up to that. That's it for today. I'm gonna put all of my usernames below for my, my sites other than YouTube, so Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and OnlyFans, okay? Subscribe to OnlyFans. I post every day, and I respond to DMs, okay? That's it for today. All right, until next time, see you guys later. Have a good night. Bye-bye.